Have you noticed big changes happening around you and in the world? Massive changes happening now. We're right in the middle of the shift. The shift has hit the fan. We're going to talk about that and more today. On Elevate, we're going to talk about what's happening around the world, how we're changing eras, changing yugas, energy's shifting. And got any questions or you've got anything you'd like to add, let us know. Stay tuned. Welcome to Elevate, the awareness shift, waking the quantum self. I'm Karen Swain, your host, and you're listening on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 107.7 and 105.3 FM, syndicated radio all over the world. G'day. Welcome to another show, Elevating Consciousness, the awareness shift, waking the quantum self, with myself, Karen Swain, and Kristen Mishmash. Welcome, Kristen. Good to see you, honey.
Hello.
So it was yesterday when we decided to talk about this topic. I was going to talk about something else, but I reached out to Kristen. I said, what do you want to talk about? And she started telling me, all this stuff that's happening in the world. And I said, well, let's talk about that. There is so much going on in the world. Hey, Heidi, let's say hello to the little online audience. Shirley. Shirley's saying we're going to talk about this, really feeling the fire horse energy. Taking action versus languaging is happening without any effort or prodding. Oh, that's interesting coming from you, Shirley. Getting stuff done. You're getting stuff done. Yeah, so everyone around the internet is much love from Boulder, Colorado.
Hi,
G'day, Mish. G'day to all the luscious ladies. Luscious ladies online. Sorry. Yeah, the fire horse energy. Sorry, I'm coughing here. Everyone's talking about the fire horse energy, and which is one of the things that is happening. And I've got a few things to say about that. I was just having a little chat with the mob before we went live. And what do you want to say about that, Kristen? What else is happening in the world? You were texting me last night and saying Ramadan and this and that. And
well, it was Fat Tuesday was yesterday. So today, I guess, is today. Now, I'm not Catholic, but I think it's Ash Wednesday. So it's the start of Lent, right? Because that leads up to Easter. And then we had the new moon partial eclipse.
Right.
That was maybe visible where you are. I don't know. I think it was visible down under. But new moons are always powerful portals anyway. So it was extremely amplified. And then I'm not an astrologer, but there's all these planet alignments that haven't happened in many, many years and won't happen again for a long time. On top of these religious holidays, on top of, the Chinese New Year starting and the year of the snake ending, just so many things all at once this week. And then I think we have a solar eclipse in a few days somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Fridays, there's so much going on. Feeling it. Absolutely. As you know, people have been listening to me yabber on. The townhouses that I live in are being renovated, and I was talking to the builder yesterday, day before, and I don't expect to have these conversations with builders, but he's a young dude. He's about 37, and he was telling me that he had to fire somebody, and he was a bit upset about it, and just giving me and I said to him, we've shifted into the fire horse. And he goes, yeah, I know. He starts talking about it. I'm like, I'm having this conversation with the builder about, I said, I didn't know you're into Chinese astrology. And he goes, yep, moving ahead, moving right along. And where's that fire horse?
Well, and I think it's become so much more of the conversation now. People that I am not anticipating that would pay attention to those things are not just saying, oh, it's Chinese New Year and let's go downtown and do a little celebration with the local Chinese community. They're now like embracing this fire horse energy. They talked about the year of the snake being last year. And, that lines up with 2025 being a 9-year and 2026 being a 10-year, like completions and beginnings, like everything. Yeah. I don't know. I've only been paying attention to this for a few years. Does it line up like this all the time? No, I don't think it does. That's why I thought it'd be fun to talk about, especially with the guidance from your mob too. and
Yeah,
comments online.
this is a picture. If I can make it full screen. There we go. This is a picture. A friend of mine did Quadarina. She's a painter. She lives up in the Northern Rivers area. Isn't it great? She's a painter. And she posted this on Facebook. So I thought, shout out to Quadarina. Her fire horse energy there. And I wanted to show this. I thought this was pretty cool. What's it say about, here we go, somebody's read what they think of the fire horse, 17th of February, year of the fire horse, from February 17th, 2026 to February 5th, 2027, we enter the year of the fire horse, a rare and powerful cycle that appears only once every 60 years. This high energy year is all about passion, rapid change, and fierce independence. It shakes up old system, challenges what no longer works, and pushes us forward towards bold transformation and personal growth. Get ready to move fast, think big, and embrace change. Now, this is a person's, let me just share this instead, person's understanding of the fire horse energy. And I had a bit of a chat with the mob about the fire horse and said, tell me what it's all about. Because as you know, I don't pay a lot of attention to astrology or Chinese astrology. And they said, it's definitely about increased energy. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, you humans like to think that increased energy is always about moving, feeling energized to move forward towards your goals and get stuff done and make stuff happen. And they said, but if you look at the horse gallops not because it has to be somewhere or go somewhere. It gallops for the sheer joy of the experience of galloping, like having that energy to move and gallop through life and just feeling energized. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. Because when I asked them about that energy, the energy of the fire horse, where are we? I've lost us. There we are. Here we go.
Oh, there we go. Not so big.
Not so big. I like, what's it all about, this fire horse energy? And they said, well, look at you. You've noticed how you were running down the stairs the other day for a woman in her 60s, mid-60s, running downstairs, and you thought to yourself, I appear to have energy where I shouldn't have energy because it's not like I exercise that much. I have a very sedentary lifestyle. Why do I feel the energy to run down the stairs? Like, I noticed that about myself. And they're saying, have you noticed that you have increased energy? But the energy I'm feeling is not like, oh, I need to get stuff done. Like Shirley says, I'm getting a lot of stuff done. I don't feel like the need to accomplish something, get stuff done, but I just feel energized. How's it landing on you, the fire horse energy, Kristen?
Well, I love the whole piece of it, more like sheer joy. Because it's almost like just a higher vibe or a higher frequency for me. That's not necessarily, I'm not tired or I have all this energy to charge forward. It's just a little calmer, easier, breezier, and enjoyable in a way. Although, this is happening right around the new moon, and I can just feel, I have a trouble describing what it is I feel, but I can feel it. Like, I can feel, I feel new moons way more than I do full moons. And they're they're just incredible portals. And I do a lot of letting go and then bringing new stuff in around new moons if I do any kind of ceremony or intention toward it. But there's so much going on that I kind of get a little overwhelmed, like, oh, I should be manifesting this, and then I should be checking on that, and then I really should make sure that my intention is this, and and I get like all like stressed over it. But this whole sense, like, you're like, and I just want to thank the mob for giving me that perspective, that it's like joyful galloping into it, and I don't need to worry about it because it's coming anyway. Yes.
Yeah, it is. I'm seeing stuff happen in my life that I have thought about for years, wanting to manifest, and never really thinking that I would have the money or the means to do it. And it's happening around me, like the renovations. I've been talking about it. So what has happened, like the renovations started to update the waterproofing on the outside of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And then people that are in charge of the money and, getting stuff done are like, no, and we need to renovate this and we need to renovate that. And now we need to update the kitchens and update the bathrooms. And let's do the whole kabang, which was not something I thought was going to happen. And it's just happening around me and I'm not making it happen. It's been a long held desire to live in a place that's been renovated, but I'm not making it happen. So it's not me galloping towards manifesting my dreams or getting stuff done or making stuff happen. It's just happening and it's kind of out of my control. It's just happening. I'm like, whoa, I'm on this ship that's on this fast flowing river and it's just taking me downstream. It's an analogy Esther Hicks often spoke about when wanting to get, stuff happening, when wanting to manifest stuff in your life. The Abraham's material says, there's a fast flowing stream, which is that flow of source energy. And what most people do in order to get what they want is they get in their little rowboat on their fast flowing and they point the boat upstream and they paddle really hard, a lot of work to get upstream because they think that upstream is where they're going to get everything they want. If I work hard enough, if I put more effort into it, if I put more thought power into it, if I meditate longer, if I do more or don't do more, then I'm going to get what I want. And what they say is let go of the oars, let go of the oars and let the stream take you to where you want to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've seen that happen in my life over and over and over again. It's it's just taking me. It's just taking me.
Yeah.
So yeah, and maybe the fire horse energy, going with the flow, riding the roller coaster, lol. Yeah, Heidi, absolutely. So that I loved what the mob said. The horse doesn't gallop because it needs to go somewhere. It gallops for the sheer joy of it, for the sheer joy of that exhilaration of running, of feeling the wind in its hair and its mane, because it's a strong, muscular animal and it can gallop, it can. So the message is do it because it feels good, do it because you can, and let the universe handle the details. Yeah.
Well, and I was talking about a piece of something you said a minute ago too with a friend of mine this morning, and that is it's so ingrained in our cultures, at least in the Western cultures that we're familiar with, that to get results, it has to be hard. You have to work hard.
Absolutely.
And so it's really challenging to shed that and let that go. But let's put that behind us. And, if we want to use the analogy of the year of the snake, great, shed it, put it behind us, and let's gallop forward in more, ease, flow, joy. One of the things that I was listening to said, like you were saying something like things that you haven't ever thought of would happen are happening now for you. And actually those things are going on in my life too. Mm-hmm. And I'm so nervous I'm going to mess them up because I'm always in trouble, right? That's the story I tell myself. But one of these things I was listening to is what dreams have you been carrying with you for so long that you hardly even speak out? That's what is coming. And it's there's a love letter. The universe is just slipping under your door. Take it easy. Give yourself grace. Things are changing, but just go with it. And I love the gallop part. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the perfect addition.
The gallop. There's definitely an acceleration of energy happening.
Yes.
Which we need to navigate. As we're riding the wave, as the wave gets stronger, it can knock us off the surfboard. I'm using analogies, but I'm trying to think of how to explain this.
Well, so you can live by the beach.
I do live by the beach. I was in the water the other day. I had this amazing feeling the other day. I went for a swim. I haven't been for a while. It's been raining here. And the next day, I was feeling that energy that we're talking about. I was feeling this ecstatic joy within me, ecstatic joy. And I'm like for no reason, happy for no reason, which is the classic way to be when being a deliberate creator. It's as humans, stuff has to happen for us to be happy, right? Things need to go our way for us to be happy. But, nothing particular was happening. And then I'm like, is this the result of swimming in the ocean? I saw a beautiful big blue groper. He was lovely. And it was bizarre having this feeling of ecstatic joy. And I'm like, am I feeling what's going on here? What's going on here? And I think it's that shedding of whatever it was that I'm shedding and allowing the natural energy of who we are to just take over. and like shedding the worry. That's the thing that we need to shed the worry and let that energy take over. I noticed this when I was a young girl, thinking about deliberate creation and energy, like feeling energized. So I was on a treadmill once many years ago in my 20s and contemplating how our thoughts create our reality. And there was a guy who was an instructor at the gym that was really hot, and I thought he was really cute. And he walked past, and as I had thoughts of appreciation, like, oh my God, he's so hot, isn't he beautiful? Like just appreciating this man as he walked past, I noticed physically in my body how I had so much more energy in my body to run on this treadmill. Like I noticed that. I noticed the thought connecting to the energy of the body and how our thoughts create our reality in every, I was learning then, but I just noticed how a positive thought over a negative thought, because the thought on the treadmill was, oh, I hate being on this bloody treadmill. Wish I didn't have to exercise. And then when this cute guy walks past, I'm like, ooh, you're gorgeous. Aren't you beautiful? So a negative thought as opposed to a positive thought. And I noticed the effect of it on my body, the energy in my body. And I remember once my next door neighbor many years ago, her husband had left her for a pretty woman. And she was very beautiful as a young woman. She was older. She was probably in her 50s or 60s. I was in my 40s back then. And I was talking to her, how are you? How are you? And she said, I can't get out of bed. I have no energy. And I remember thinking, it's that self-deprivation, like I'm not beautiful anymore. No one's going to love me. My husband's left me. That, like just she couldn't get out of bed. She had no energy. So yeah, how our thoughts create our reality. So when we shed those negative thoughts, we just naturally have that more energy, that energy that we're talking about with the fire horse.
Yeah. Well, and I've been having some, like, I got some weird stuff going on with my health. I mean, I'm in menopause and I'm, getting older too. And I lay in bed and in the morning and I'm like, it hurts a little bit to move or to get out of bed. And then, so what I've started to do is just like thank my body before I get out of bed, like thank it for all that it does do rather than what it's hurting or doesn't do. And I find that I have an easier time getting up and getting going, So it's changing the narrative, and I'm not lying to myself because I'm truly grateful. I just have to, shift that
shift your perspective. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Misha's saying here, we can't swim in our oceans here in South Australia. Algae blooms big time. Wow. I didn't know that, Mish. Wow. Algae blooms. I did see a bit of that on the news, the algae blooms in Australia. Heidi, did I read out what Shirley said before about, I put it up. Did we say it? Here, oh yes, the sheer joy. Many I know, including me, are experiencing this. Oh, are you? We are aligned. No, not getting things done, just not standing still. And I have done for many years, a state of transmutation.
That's excellent, cool. Shirley.
Yeah, that is excellent. Yeah, I'd love to know for who else is online. Source 9, how's this energy affecting you? What is your idea of the Chinese Year of the Horse? And let us know. So what's your idea of it, Kristen? Have you got any sort of ideas of what this year is going to mean to you?
I'm getting a lot of messages of just this is the year that things really shift and change for me. But I don't know if it's like, does that mean it's shifting good or bad? I don't know. Like I do think that sometimes, but it is a big shift, and I'm finally in a position in my life. And timing, whatever, if it follows astrologically, I don't know. But it's weird how things like that do tend to follow my life. I don't live by it, but my recording studio is becoming a real thing now, and
that's
things
great
that I've wanted to do for a living.
For people who don't know Kristen's story, when her husband left the planet, how many years ago now? 6?
7.
7. Damn. He had this amazing, because he was a bit of a musician, recording studio, and Kristen's been saying for years, I don't know what to do with this studio. What will I do with this studio?
Well, I've wanted to open it, but I just
yeah, I
didn't
should make
have
money
the
from it. Yeah,
time
exactly.
means. Yeah, so we'll make money from it this year. I'm
That's
not doing
cool.
it yet, but we will.
That's
But
cool. What is
yeah.
it, Gas? Heidi's saying, where some of my health issues came from. I'd like to know where some of my health issues came from and why they are sticking around for so long, but going with the flow and gratitude helps.
Yeah, it does.
Interesting. And Mish is saying, I'm feeling maybe I should be more energetic, but I'm feeling kind of the same. Okay, that's interesting. That's good. That's good. That's good that you're feeling kind of the same. And yeah, I mean, you might, just notice what you notice, because we get stuck in our emotional loops, in our thought patterns. And that's when we don't notice what's going on with our bodies or notice what's going on with our energy, because we're sort of in our thought patterns. And the thing about health is that when we are unhealthy and we focus a lot on the pain in my body or feeling sad or feeling this or feeling that, when we wake up the next day, we're in that emotional loop and we're in a place of expectation that it's going to be the same. That's going to be the same. So that place of expectation that this is who I am and this is how it's going to be is all a part of that pattern of recreating. Because in every moment, the body is changing, cells are changing. I think it's, 2 years. Some people say 6 years, where every molecule in your body is different. So
right, something like that.
Skin peels off. You've got new skin every 2 years. Blood cells die on a minute-by-minute basis. Everything's dying and being reborn and dying and being reborn. So as we continue to loop in our thinking and expectations, this, I expect to get out of bed and feel pain. I expect my knees to hurt. I expect this to hurt. You just keep restamping it, recreating it. So with this new energized energy and acceleration of change, use your thoughts to change. Expect to feel pain-free. Expect to feel energized. Expect to feel different. Like, just use your powerful expectation to shift your circumstances, to shift your life experience, and see what happens.
Well,
See what
and
happens. See what
yeah, and
happens.
to echo that, and to possibly add to that, I have noticed in my lifetime, like, I've had bunions on my feet, and I've had bunion surgery on my feet, and they hurt for a good couple years before the surgery, and then the recovery of the surgery, it kind of hurt still for about 6 months, and then at some point, like it takes me a while to notice, and I'll be like, I haven't noticed my feet hurting for a while now. When did they stop hurting? And so when we feel good, we don't even really notice it. Does that
Exactly.
make sense? And so
Exactly.
I have to shift the notice to, actually, I am feeling pretty good here and I'm feeling pretty good there. And this may
Exactly.
be a challenge, but like I don't feel like I'm bypassing or not acknowledging, but I'm just like, wait a minute, I get to acknowledge the good
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. I remember meeting Patch Adams many years ago. So there was a movie made about him. What was the actor who played him? He
Robin
was
Williams. It was
Robin
Robin
Williams.
Williams.
Thank you. And Tom Shadyac made that movie, who I interviewed many years ago and fell madly in love with. And I interviewed him on radio. I didn't even see him on Zoom. It was before I was doing Zooms or being on, face on. Anyway, so Patch Adams, I met the real Patch Adams. And I saw him talk at a conference here in Sydney and then met him afterwards. And he was awesome. But he talked about his hospital, his free hospital. And a man came in who was suffering depression. So he handcuffed this man to himself. And he went about his day in the hospital and just observed this man, because the man said, I'm depressed all the time. I feel really bad all the time. And Patch Adams said that in the moments where he wasn't feeling depressed, he pointed it out to this man. So a dog came in and the guy goes, oh, cute puppy, and pats the puppy, and Patch says, see, not depressed. And then he has a conversation with somebody and they have this nice conversation, and Patch said, see, not depressed. And then something else happened, and Patch would just point out the times where he wasn't depressed. And then he sat down with him at the end of the day to give him his consultation. And he said, I noticed that what you said wasn't true. You're not depressed all the time. I noticed plenty of times during the day where you were not depressed. And this is exactly what you're talking about. We notice when we're in pain, but we don't notice when we're not. when we're feeling good and put our powerful focus on it and powerful attention, because our attention is what creates. So if we put our attention on what's going wrong or what feels bad in our body or what feels bad in our life, we create more of that. But if we put our powerful attention on when we're feeling good, like I'm running down the stairs and I notice, wow, I'm feeling so energized and I don't know why. It's like I've done nothing to create, more energy in my body. Like I noticed it. Notice.
Well, and I'm thinking too now, with speaking of the fire horse and all of that, let's just take off the fire, because the horse comes up every 12 years probably, right? Because isn't the Chinese zodiac 12, right? But it's right now it's the fire horse. But either way, that horse is going forward. So is it going to be charging and rushing and full of flame and heat? Or is it going to be galloping and enjoying the heat and the warmth and the light? Like, how do I want to approach that?
Yeah.
So I do really like where this discussion has gone on taking it through noticing the joy, the bliss, the galloping through, the galloping ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a proponent of really astrology in any way or talking about what's happening, because I used to be. I used to study astrology and numerology and all sorts of things like that. And then when I started to be more invested in being a deliberate creator and had the guides were more, I was more aware of my guides in my life, I would ask them about it. And they said, well, masters that walk the earth, their astrology doesn't relate to them because they live outside of that stamp, that imprint that they come in with, because they're masterful in how they flow their energy and how they create their reality. And they've said to me something like this: regardless of what's happening energetically, you get to create your reality based on where you place your powerful attention and focus and what you do with your thinking and the flow of your energy and your emotions. But it's like weather. So the cosmic weather, the astrological weather happens, and it can influence you or not, depending on how masterful you are being a powerful creator. So we can cry because it's raining, or we can rejoice because the plants are being, having a drink. It's like, where are you placing your attention?
Yeah.
It's the same with the sort of astrological weather. There's energies on the planet that are influencing us, but they don't create our reality. So a lot of people that get online that talk about astrology say, this is going to happen and this is going to happen and this is going to happen. And people hang on to their every word because they think that it has some power in how their life turns out. But have you noticed that we've had these planetary alignments and, for the first time in 100 years, the first time in 1,000 years, there's a lot of people talking about this stuff.
It comes up all the time.
And life goes on. You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you have breakfast. Like, life goes on, unless you don't.
Yeah.
But how we navigate, how we bump up against the astrological weather is how masterful we are in focusing our attention in the direction we want to go rather than on the direction we don't want to go. So when we have pain in our body, I remember doing a course once in my home quite a few years back, and a woman was complaining about her back pain, how she was always in back pain, but she was really enjoying the course. And I said to her, do you have back pain right now? And she said, actually, no. And I said, stand up and sit down. She stood up and sat down. And I said, why do you think it is that you don't have back pain right now? She said, well, I'm really enjoying myself and I'm really enjoying this course. And I'm like, isn't it interesting that when you're in a different frequency, in a different state of mind, the pain in your body is not present?
Right.
So how much do you want to put yourself in that state of mind instead of in suffering over the pain that you're in?
Yeah.
And that's, that we can be masterful in that, because we are creators. We are creators. We are creators.
Yeah. I recall when I was going through all the levels of Reiki training, and my Reiki master, Debbie, tells a story of a client that she had. I may have shared this before, but she just says that this client would come, and she, was a bit older, and she had all these aches and pains or whatever, and they would get cleared or taken care of through the Reiki session. And then a couple months later, she'd be back and need this same kind of work done. And what she found through chatting with this woman is that when she was doing well, her adult children and the grandkids didn't come around. But when she wasn't doing well, they didn't, they came around. And so it was kind of like she was manifesting that for the attention, or she didn't mind it because she got the attention. So it's a really funny thing that we do to ourselves, for that.
Yeah.
And why not, create the attention myself and just, reach out to them and and just be grateful for them, and then give out that vibe instead, and then they want to be around just because of
Yeah.
that vibe,
Yeah. We
But
have
it's just
many
interesting.
we have many ideas of who we think we are and how we can get what we want. And none of them are very empowering. And I think that if anything of the year of the snake would have been good, like the shedding of the skin, to shed those collective ideas of how we get what we want. And one of those ideas, the biggest idea is this love concept. I watch a lot of streaming stuff. And again, I was watching some teenagers saying that they love each other, and how shocked that this young boy, he's 16, 17, says to his girlfriend, "You love me?" And I think to myself, why don't we throw around this love? Like, we should be loving everybody. You love your mother, you love your father, you love your cat. But we put this importance on this word love like it means something instead of it. And it doesn't. It just means that I am love. I'm a loving being. Shouldn't I be love? Shouldn't I be in love with life and in love with everybody? Like this concept of personal love. I can't
Hmm.
say the L word. Like they've made movies about it, the L word. You can't say the L word. What this means, this loving thing. I remember with my first husband, I'd come to that understanding, and he rang me up one day and he said, what do you think of me? He asked the wrong question. And I said, "Oh, I think you're gorgeous." And I'm sort of saying all these nice things about him, of what I thought of him. And this is at a time where he's thinking, are we more than just friends? And then I was working for the Academy of Light, and I drove about half an hour to get there. And as I'm driving, I'm thinking to myself, he's more confused about our relationship after the phone call than he was before the phone call, because he rang to see if it was more than just friendship, right?
Hmm.
So I got to the office and I rang him back and I said, "You're more confused after the phone call than you were before." He said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Ask a different question." Because instead of "What do you think of me?" And I said, "Oh, I think you're beautiful. I think you're great." Because he's like, "She thinks everybody's beautiful and great. This is it's no big deal." I said, "Ask a different." He said, can we be more than friends, or do you think this is more than friends? And I said, "Yes." "Have you got it now?" And he goes, "I've got it now." Yeah. So yeah, we think someone pays us a bit of attention, that they're in love with us. Like there was a whole movie I've made called He's Not That Into You. That movie, what was that movie
It was
called?
based on a book. It was based on a self-help book, and they made it into like a fictional movie. Did you know that?
No, it was
It was
based on a
based on a
self-help book.
self-help book, like, get over yourself, he's just not that into you. That's why you're confused all the time. I actually watched that movie about a year or two ago. I watch it every few years because it's an all right movie, It's kind of fun to watch. But yeah. Anyway, you were gonna say about that.
No, well, it's just how we get confused about personal relationship, because we just don't expect people to be nice to us. So getting back to that, and if they are they in love with me? And what does that mean? It's like we just don't expect to feel that niceness and that appreciation coming from everybody. And back to your little lady who, in order to get her children's attention, had to be sick, because
Mhm.
just being herself meant that her kids aren't going to show love or appreciation or be nice. Maybe if I'm sick, then I'll get that attention that I'm seeking. Like, this is what we do as humans.
Yeah, because she's
And
seeking
she's
attention.
seeking. Yeah, she's feeling unloved and unappreciated, and she's seeking it in all the wrong places. So if anything, if we're going to shed, we need to shed that, because the truth is we are loved, we are loved, we are loved, we are loved, we are love. We are loved and we are love. And the best way to enjoy life is to give that which we are, not stop seeking it from outside
Yeah.
ourselves. When we seek that love, either from friendship or our children or our families or our lovers, then we're in a whole world of pain, because we have all sorts of ideas of what that means. Do they like me? Do they don't like me? What did he mean by that? Are they in love with me because they said, "You look nice today"? Oh my God, he must be in love with me, like the movie.
Yeah. I I remember I was in a really low place. It wasn't long after. It was, in the first year or two after my husband passed, and I was just kind of bumming out, and I went to this store in the States called Trader Joe's, and I like checked out and I was like, "Oh, I have to come back and get some of that was on sale." I didn't know it was on sale. And he's like, "Yeah, come back. And I'd love to have you at my register with that big smile," or something like that. And I remember going, "Oh, he thought I was so cute. And oh my gosh, and maybe I'll go back. And what will I wear next time I go to Trader Joe's?" And then like, and then I kind of snapped out of it. Like that was kind of weird. And then I read a thing like a week or two later that said they train their people at the checkout to flirt with the customers to make them
There you go.
but I was
To
so
make 'em buy more.
vulnerable, and but it's when we're in those places, and it's me putting expectations on other people, whether like, oh, I expect for them to do this, and maybe they'll like me, and all those things, and it's putting stuff on other people, and what, and then I'm disappointed when they don't fulfill it or meet it. But it's an expectation
Exactly.
I put on that. Well, hi,
Yeah.
Sean. It's good
Hey,
to see you. Aloha.
aloha, beautiful
Yeah,
lady.
but
Are you in love
it's
with us, Sean? We're just talking about how we can misconstrue people's appreciation.
yes.
Many years ago, when I was in my 40s, when I lived up on the northern beaches, there was this beautiful cafe that was over Pittwater. Anyway, long story, I won't go. But a young couple took it over. Couple, as in not romantic couple, business partners. She organized the food side, and he was a horticulturist, and it was this young guy in his 20s at the time, I think. And I loved this place. I took you to it, the boat shed, that
I
photograph of
totally
you on my
remember. I was gonna say the Pittwater. You took me
yeah,
there.
Pittwater. That's it. Anyway, and the guy, I can't remember his name now, used to give me free flowers all the time. I loved what he did. I loved the way he orchestrated, organized all the fruit. He'd put bowls of fruit. And it was like art. It was just like art. I loved it. And I really appreciate it. And he used to, and I could have misconstrued that as this handsome young man giving me free flowers. But I just used to think, I'm just this middle-aged housewife, and he just appreciates that I appreciate his new business. That business that was like over 20 years ago went on to be a major success, and they're all over the place now.
That's
It became a
incredible.
major success. But yeah, he used to give me free flowers all the time. And isn't it lovely that we can show that love and appreciation without making it mean anything? It's just that we are love. Like, yeah, if you want to feel the love of who we are, give it. Give
Yeah.
it.
Well, a lot of people on here that know me know that I study near-death experiences all the time. Or, I don't know what it is, the draw for it. But anyway, one of the things that I really gleaned and learned from studying that in the commonalities that a lot of them have is they talk about when they're on the other side and how it's pure love, like it is love, and that's the reality. And actually, that's where we come from. My soul essence comes from that. So I am made of love. And, the word love, and it's unconditional love. And the word love is so misconstrued on our planet,
Right.
but I already am that. And I am full of that because I am that. And we are all one in that type of love. But yeah, we misconstrue it with all these earthly words. But it's when we step above that and become whole ourselves, then we're not always seeking it and searching out
Exactly.
for it and lonely
Exactly.
with
I
it.
remember being a young girl going to nightclubs, seeking that appreciation and attention and love from people outside. And it was miserable. And when we didn't get it, I would go home with my girlfriend, we'd cry in our cups of tea. But it was miserable when we were young. Like seeking love is just
Yeah.
miserable because you are love. Like look for it inside yourself. Sean, we're talking about the massive changes that are happening on the planet. They're going into the year of the horse, the fire horse. How's it, how are you interpreting the solar eclipse, the lunar eclipse, the Ramadan? What else is happening? I don't know what was that day that you said, something day? The Catholic
They
Church,
call it Fat Tuesday because it's Mardi
Fat Tuesday,
Gras was
Mardi
Fat
Gras.
Tuesday, and it's the day of like letting go. I don't know because I don't live that religious lifestyle, but letting it all go because the next days are Lent leading up to is it Good Friday? I don't know when you break Lent. Sorry, world. But anyway, up until Easter, and it's watch the movie Chocolat. And do you remember? And it was all during Lent, and they were giving her crap or giving her, a whole bunch of business for opening a chocolaterie at the beginning of Lent, and how disrespectful that was, and she's not going to succeed. And the one preacher that was the most adamant, the last day of it, he broke in the window, lost his mind, ate all the chocolate, is covered in melted chocolate when they find him in the next morning, and she hands him like a bicarb,
One of my favorite movies of all time. I was living a big part of that at the time it came out. I think I've shared stories with it. But at the end of that movie, the young priest, who the older priest is tutoring and writing all his sermons for him because he doesn't think the young priest can say it for himself. At the very end, he said, love is not about what we exclude, but who we include. Makes me want to cry.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not about
Lent is all about, not doing this and not eating that, and not it's like we think that we're going to be more holy or more loving or closer to God if we exclude stuff in our life. And he just said it's not about what we exclude, but who we include. But getting back to the matrix of love, remember when Nancy Ryan came into the Inner Sanctum? I had her on the show, and she spoke about, so she's now, her talks on her near-death experience have gone viral. She's spoken to millions of people, but this is way back, just after it happened. I spoke to her about 6 months after it happened, or a few months, and I
remember that.
You're on a podcast and you broke 25 bones in your body multiply, and you're talking to me on Zoom a few months later. I was just blown away. But anyway, and she talked about, she was an atheist who went to heaven, was given her marching orders to speak about source and God, which was a complete paradigm shift for her. But she spoke about love in that exact same way. She said, love is not who we are. It is the very matrix. It is the structure. It is the architecture of the universe. It's like everything is love. It's all made from love. I remember she said that, having experienced that intensive NDE. I loved that.
I love that you bring her up. She's an incredible artist, and she paints the most beautiful paintings of horses.
She does. We should find her on and put her up.
I'll let you do that, because I haven't learned how to do that. But Sean has piped in a little bit while you're looking for that.
I'll look up Nancy.
And he said, I feel it all, and I'm just going within and trying to do my part to help people ascend, as we are all in this together, which we are. Totally all in it together. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks,
and,
Sean.
Heidi says everything is connected. We are all one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just looking at Nancy's horses. Let's have a look.
Yeah. See if you can bring it up.
I don't see any fire horses, but I will share her Facebook page because she does do the
horses.
My screen share. Here we go, Nancy, giving you your art a bit of a plug. Is that sharing? Every time I share, my computer.
It's pulling up.
Computer freezes.
It's just interesting that she comes as part of the conversation, and
we're talking about, and she paints horses all the time. I know.
Yeah.
She's piped in.
Yeah.
Very
look
Western.
Her up, Nancy Rines, and it's spelled Rynes.
Contemporary artist.
Near-death experience is unbelievable. Yeah. So
she was one of the first YouTube videos I did, and I got it totally wrong. And
there's horses.
There's horses, yeah. Yeah, she does amazing
Krista
art.
Gorman liked it.
Hey, Krista. Okay. Galloping horses. Yeah, when we think of horses, what do we think of? We do think of energy. We think of them galloping. When we think of horses, we think more of them galloping than them grazing, in a paddock, grazing, the thought of a horse. And when we think of a fire horse, we think of, on fire. Thanks for your insights, Sean. What else is going on here? Everything is connected. You both are such inspirations and doing great work. Oh, thanks, darling, to help support the world. Did you put that up while I was looking for Nancy?
No, I didn't. You can put that one up if you want. But
ditto for you. Sean is doing amazing. Kristen was telling me that February was, what was it? Black History Month?
Yeah. Yeah. And he has done a lot of work around near-death experiences and spiritual experiences with people of color, with blacks in America, especially in our cultures here in the States. A lot of the people that are black are very religious Christians,
Yeah.
like heavy into their denominations. And so when they have these spiritual experiences or near death experiences and they come back and start to share about it, it's not, they get either in trouble, just all the rhetoric with near death experiences, like you shouldn't be seeing Jesus. That's not true. You didn't see God. You don't know better than God, or just that's a weird experience and that's of the devil. And so they have hidden back. And I'm probably saying it really poorly, Sean, but but they pull back. And what he started to do with his platform of IANS, the Hawaiian IANS groups, is he started to highlight the people of color, especially during the month of February, so that they know that they're not alone in this and that there is a community where they can safely share. It's kind of like starting over from the beginning with NDE experiences. But
Yeah.
And he's got
I mean, the dogma of religion, that we really have to shed a lot of the dogma, not throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, but shed a lot of the conditions and dogma around religion. And unity and oneness link or here. I was listening to a guy on Jesse Michael's show who was a CIA agent. And he first started talking about God, and he was talking about, they were talking about time travel. He went to a monastery and started meditating. He didn't mean to meditate. He was just sitting there and he fell into this meditation or this trance. And he went back in time and he saw himself in all these different time pieces and as a monk at that monastery in the 1500s and blah, blah. He saw all this stuff so vividly that he wrote about it in a book, right? He had this unbelievable hypnotic experience of him in other lives. And then Jesse asks him, so do you think it was you in another life? It was like reincarnation? And he said, oh, no, I don't believe in reincarnation.
Wait, what?
I don't believe in reincarnation. And I'm like, you saw yourself, because he says it was so visceral, it was so real. Jesse kept asking him, was it as real as this reality? He was, because when I take my clients back into reincarnation, they can feel the grass under their toes. They can smell things. They can, like, it's so viscerally real. And he was saying the same thing. But the religion says that reincarnation isn't real. So he's so wrapped up in the religious dogma that he has these amazing experiences, but he doesn't believe in reincarnation. And I'm like, wow, how confused we get. How confused we get. I meant to do a station ID break. We're running out of time. Just to remind people that you're listening to Karen Swain and Kristen Mismash on Elevate Consciousness, the Awareness Shift, Waking the Quantum Self. We are on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Networks on 107.7 and 105.3 FM syndicated radio all over the shop, streaming on quite a few different platforms. And I did, when I was cruising through YouTube yesterday, Australian 60 Minutes, as it was a new year. I didn't watch it, but I saw they're talking about aliens. And I'm like, okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. Like 60 Minutes legacy media, but they're talking about it. He's still, because you know how on YouTube you can just see a little bit of it before you click on it when you hover over it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, don't call me crazy. They're still going into, I'm talking about this stuff, but I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. They're still in that sort of conversation, like if you talk about aliens. But yeah, and a lot of people say that when you're talking about aliens and it's going to become a reality, like ET, life in the cosmos, that it's going to shift religion in a big way. What do you think about that? Do you think religion, like when the reality that we're not alone in the universe and that we're interacting with other species, our galactic neighbors, do you think that we'll shed a lot of the dogma that religion, like this doesn't exist and that doesn't exist?
Well, along with the theme, with great shifts, I believe it's happening, and it's happening it's not overnight. It's not this gigantic shift, and that can still come. I don't know, but I feel like it seems like it's happening, but slower for us, just because our concept of time. But there's those religious designations that you can put on your medical forms, and there is a box that can be checked, spiritual but not religious. So I could put you could either just say Christian, Jewish, Catholic, whatever. So they would bring in whatever ecclesiastical leader you needed, if if needed while you're in the hospital stay. But now you can say spiritual, not religious. And they have said that in the research, and I think I talked about this last week, how it's shifting and changing to where it's overlapping, that more people are spiritual but not religious than religious, and then also than atheist.
Yeah,
So there are these
exactly.
shifts that are monumental in my eyes, and in what I look forward to living more in is the more secular spirituality, which
Mm.
is what we talk about here. That brings in the aliens, the whole cosmos, whatever is out there, all the energies, frequencies,
Just
astrology,
like
if you will.
the
I
young,
don't know.
just like the young priest at the end of Chocolat said, yeah, life or love is not about what you exclude, but who you include. Like, let's include different beings across the universe. Like, let's include them. Let's not, call you crazy. And getting back to the massive shift and changes that we're going through, a lot of people are saying that the reality of life in the cosmos will happen by 2027. I think Bashar came out and said it started now in 2026. I think it started a long time ago, but that acceleration of energy and the fire horse, like the burning out the old dross. When I spoke to Mother Earth about the fires, she said, learn to love the fires, learn to love the fires in your life. They just clean out all the clutter. They just burn everything away.
Purifier.
And
Yep.
purifier. And then when we think of the galloping horse, like the energy, so there is a lot of accelerated energy happening this year, both personally and globally. And maybe 2027 will be the year where humanity at large wakes up to the truth of our cosmic neighbors, because we will burn away a lot of that religious dogma and that those limiting, paralyzing thought forms of being crazy or woo-woo if you're talking about aliens. And it's interesting. We'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. But
one of my favorite memes that's circulating is one of the ones that'll say, how you look at all your friends when all the conspiracy theories start coming true that you've been talking about for the last how many years, and you're like, I told you so. you know they're not theories. So many of them. But yeah. And then
it's
Sean
Heidi
said,
saying, Mother
yeah,
Earth said that to me when we were chatting. I was away a few years ago in the country, and I had a bit of a chat to Mother Earth. And she said, learn to love, don't you love my fires? Because there had been big fires through the place I was in. And I'm like, how can we love the fires? And she
yeah,
said, learn to love my fires and learn to love the fires in your own life. I love that, learning to love the fires. Cleansing, yes. A reset, absolutely. Farmers burn their crops. Look, I was listening to a guy online, we're running out of time, whose beautiful house was burnt down in the Palisades fires in California. And I was thinking about all that luxury, all those luxury homes, all those people, and spend all this money on collecting all this stuff in their house, and it all just goes up in flames, right? And 2 doors down, he was talking about the miracle of what happened afterwards. I can't remember who it was. There was a house that didn't burn down that came up for sale at a greatly reduced price. That was an absolute replica of his house that burnt down. I know, and they bought it and moved into it. Amazing miracles like that, amazing things. But fire can be, miraculous, miraculous, miraculous.
yeah,
What
yeah.
what did Sean say?
He was talking about the religious, spiritual, but not religious. Do you want me to pull it up? Every
Yeah.
day, more and more people are becoming more spiritual and less religious, even those we think of as fundamentalists, such as Kathy Lee Gifford, are talking about being spiritual, not religious. She, of all people, has actually been warning people about the damage being done by fundamentalism. So that's
Mm.
interesting. Yeah. But
Yeah, that's very
yeah,
fascinating.
and it's really funny because I use this term and I bantered around in this community, being very spiritual. And there we go. Evangelical extraterrestrial friendly Buddhism. I like that.
That's Chris.
That's
Chris,
amazing. I love that.
some of
But
my friends who practice kirtan and they're Jewish call it what do they call it? Hindu. Because they're Jewish and they sing kirtan, and so they call themselves Hindu, like Hindu,
Jews,
Hindu
yeah.
Jewish people. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But that's
yeah,
attaching labels again
it
and
is.
things
Yeah,
like
that's
that. But there are shifts that are coming, but um, and it may be an overnight shift of something major happening, and it may just be these subtle shifts constantly happening as we're leveling up and our vibes are getting higher and you know
yeah. Expect things to move quickly this year. Acceleration. Accelerate. So what's next year in the Chinese astrology theme? If we're in the year of the fire horse this year, does anyone know? Do you know?
I'll look it up really quick. So
I have to say, I really pay attention to this stuff, but it was all over social media. And then I mentioned it to my builder and he was like, yeah, he was into it. So yeah, it seems to be
it's
everyone's
the
into
year
it.
of the fire goat or the year of the fire ram.
Oh, wow. So more fire next year. The fire goat and the fire ram.
Sometimes referred to as the red goat, represents peace, harmony, kindness, and inner strength.
When I think of goats, I think of the way they balance on cliff tops and how amazing that is. Like these tiny little hooves and how they can navigate these sheer shelves. So that navigation of deadly things. Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of goats. So maybe that energy is coming next year. So how do you, for people listening, we've got 4 minutes to go, how do you want to, this year of the fire horse, how do you want it to play out in your life? And will you take the message from the mob, my guides, when I tuned in, and they said, don't gallop because you're galloping towards something to make stuff happen, but gallop for the sheer joy of the experience of galloping. Yeah, because you're energized, feel the wind in your hair, just experience the joy of living just because you can, because you're here, because you're physical, because you can, because when you're dead, you don't have a physical body to run and feel the wind. Something my friend Nikki said to me after she died. She was born thalidomide affected. She was sick most of her life and she wanted to die many times. She had many near-death experiences and she died at 40. And I was in the ocean just after I heard that she died. And she came to me and she said, enjoy the feeling of the ocean, Karen. Enjoy feeling the water lap against your skin. Sensations like that are so beautiful to have on earth. For me, they are just memories now. So yeah, enjoying that physical sensation, like the wind in your hair, the water on your skin, because you can enjoy this experience of being human, even though we're going through this accelerated shift and accelerated change. Enjoy the process. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about it, Kristen?
No, I truly love that insight that the guides that your mob gave us, that don't gallop because I'm going towards something, gallop for the sheer joy, and let's enjoy these shifts and let's be in them together and share it. We're going to share it with the whole planet anyway, so we may as well enjoy sharing it, right?
Right. Also today, I pointed out, because I had Ann Tucker on the show a couple of times, and she talked about a big earth riff happening, a big shake up, Mother Earth shaking things up a bit, a big earthquake. And there was some psychic on YouTube that I came across a few weeks ago who put a date to it, and they said it was going to be today. What date is it over there in the States? Yeah, it's the 19th here. It's the 18th of Feb is what she said. It hasn't happened so far. There hasn't
That's
been.
why I'm not leaving for California till tomorrow morning. We'll see if it's still here in the morning.
I mean, I listened to it because I heard Ann Tucker talk about it, and I did see it when Ann Tucker was talking about it a couple of years ago when I first heard about it. A lot of people have spoken about it, but I did feel it as a reality. I did feel like it's a reality right now, but I think it will happen. There will be massive earth changes in our future. I don't know when, It was interesting that this psychic put this date on it, the 18th of your February, like she spoke about it, like the guides gave it to her. But yeah, is it this year? Is it next year? Is it the year after? I don't know. But yeah, things are shaking. Things are shaking and quaking. Gratitude.
Well, there's been earthquakes announced around Salt Lake City. We're not far from Yellowstone, and Yellowstone is actually one of those super massive volcanoes. We're not far in the scope of the entire planet. You know, it's like an 8 or 10 hour drive away. But there's all these little 3-point, 4-point earthquakes, 2-point, whatever, that are kind of all over now that I'm hearing about. I'm like, well, do these happen all the time and you're just now telling me about them? Or are they happening because something's coming and something's
They're
going?
definitely happening more often. There's a guy called Stefan, physicist, projections happening, and they're really like happening right now. I mean, we're in this eclipse season, change of astrology and the Chinese astrology charts, Lent, all these things are happening right now. Yeah, let's see how it plays out and how we're going to navigate it. Are we going to ride the wave and enjoy the journey or suffer? G'day, Alison. Darn, she says, I missed it. Yeah, we're finished. We're out of time. We're a minute over. We'll watch the replay. Thanks, Kristen. Thanks, Sean, for participating, and Mish, and Heidi, Alison, Chris, all the great people, Shirley, all the great people online. It's been a blast. Yeah, enjoy the galloping for the sheer joy of it. Don't think you have to get anywhere. There's nowhere to go and nowhere to be. Just in this present moment right now, feeling energized and free. Big love. Bye for now.